Um, is that working? Is that working? I had to plug my mic in. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. Is the microphone working? Oh my goodness, can't believe I messed up the start of the show with the microphone. Let me just get up. Seems my microphone is... So is it working here in Streamlabs? It is working in Streamlabs. Fantastic. Ha. Okay, cool. Well, that was a bit of a starty start, wasn't it? From the music, from myself, from everybody. But I had a song I wanted to sing to everybody, and disappointed I didn't do it now. So, welcome to Rocky's TA. Ain't no place I'd rather be. Ba-dum. Welcome to the show, everybody. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Hey, Dilip, good to see you there, my friend. Good to see you, TradeSpotting in the Chitter Chatter, and good to see Andy Lee as well in there. Now, I was put on to Andy Lee today by TradeSpotting. Let me just look him up so I can share his channel with everybody. Start off the show with Andy Lee. Where is Andy Lee's channel? Here we have him. Here we have him. And he's a nice guy. He seems to really know his stuff. TradeSpotting endorses him 100%. And I just thought I would introduce you to him a little bit here and give him a shout out on the channel. So why not? How about that? Hi, nice to see you, Kevin. Good to see you in there. So I'm just introducing everybody to a new friend of mine, or a friend to be, I'm sure, called Andy, who TradeSpotting my brother likes as, and I just think he seems like a nice guy. And people apparently like to, you know, he's got a relaxing, nice tone to him. So people like to tune in and listen to him speak. I can understand why. You see, he's a nice guy. He's called Ape Andy, and he talks to all of the apes out there in the world of stonks. So if you're into stonks and all that, and you want to have somebody new to listen to, then check out Andy Lee. Go on, check out his channel there, and do the old hitting the button, hitting the bell, and all that sort of stuff, as of course everybody loves to do here on the Rocky Outcrop Show. Woo! At the charts today, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all really fantastically well. We're going to be looking at Bitcoin dominance, for example, but we're going to be looking as well at our friend Bitcoin itself, of course, because Bitcoin is the king of the world, and it's at 57,771 right here, right now. Isn't that lovely, actually, to see it right on that 577777 number that we spoke about being very, very key in the previous live stream, and you can see that all marked out on the charts there. And we're going to be taking a look as well, because Andy asked me to. We will be taking a look at XRP, which is kind of cool, because XRP has got some interesting TA on the go at the minute as well. So how about we start off, maybe, what do we want to start off with here, ladies and gents? Let me know in the chitter chatter box what you'd like to see. There's no volume, seriously. Is it you seriously, is it happening right now? There's no volume. I can see on my Streamlabs here that it's all jumping away, telling me that the volume is working really, really well. That's what it says. It says it's going really well over there. Maybe on Andy's video you're talking about there being no volume. That might have been what you meant there. So yeah, let me know. Good to see you. Who let the bulls out? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Good to see you in the chitter chatter there. Shall we test let's test the screen with the chat on it, shall we? And see if it's, wow, it's working. Excellent. My camera's not quite working though. Let me just get this lined up a bit, give you a good look at my wrist there. So yes, hello, I'm in the screen, me and the old sunflowers down here in the screen. Shall we check in and see how Kirk's doing, everybody? Shall we see how Kirk's doing? How you doing, Capitan? Are you all right? Are you feeling all right in there, Captain? How's your journey to the moon? Are you enjoying the views along the way? What's that? Yeah, everything's going good. Good. Okay, good. Nice one. So we have Dilip coming in here saying XRP to the moon. It's back. It's back on, mate. Oh, good. Right, cool, excellent. Right, good one. Excellent. Everybody on the same page here. Excellent. Thanks very much for joining us, Davidas. Good name there, my friend. So everybody is doing really well. I don't really like. I want to have a bit more of myself in here. How's that? Is that too much? I don't know. So yeah, we've been doing really well recently with our calls in the market. How's that? That'll do, right? Been doing really well recently with our calls in the market, so I thought I would check in with some charts and kind of show them off to people, because not enough people know that. This is, of course, as well, welcome to the best kept secret on YouTube. That's what we are doing here. The best kept secret on YouTube, the best technical analysis, but nobody knows about us here. So that's a lovely little corner of the world, YouTube. Pop that thumb, says Who Let the Bulls Out. Yes, everybody, please do hit that like button. Let everybody know that we're getting along well here. And you know what would be really excellent would be if people could share the video. Can you imagine how good that would be if anybody could share the video? That would be flipping marvelous. Right. Okay, cool. So if you would share the video, that'd be amazing. Let's start off then. What we'll do here in the show is we'll start off and we'll take a look at Bitcoin, then we'll take a look at XRP for our friend Ape Andy, and then we will take a look at what everybody's suggesting in the chit chat at that point, and then we will go back around and kind of mop up if we've missed out on some of the ones that I like to do on the regular here for all the people out there that are loyal Rocky outcropticians of the world. Maybe it was we should keep people informed along the way as to what we've been doing. So maybe if I just pop on a text box here. So I pop this text box down. I'm going to put it just below the chat, and I'm going to write in there what we have been talking about. So, for example, I'll say Bitcoin at 8 minutes. And I can see it's not actually appearing properly on the screen somehow. Is it too small or something? What's up with that? Okay, that didn't work. Forget it. Well, in another stream in the future, we'll remind people 8 minutes in for the Bitcoin stuff. That's about right for anybody joining us live. If anybody comes along later and asks, has Rocky done Bitcoin? You can tell them that we did it 8 minutes into the show. So just another welcome to everybody. I've not run the intro clips at the minute today. Maybe I will, just for everybody's enjoyment at some point. You can request that if you want to see them. But we're going to crack on without any intro clips and just cover the main story right here with regards to Bitcoin. So we saw the Bitcoin prices turn around at this low at the 46,000 region and then climb back towards the top side and actually come in at the 58,000 and 57,777, and all the wee numbers that we were talking about really haven't actually climbed as high as 59k and then pulled back. If I'd been making this video before that, I would have said, watch out for any bull traps in that area. Oh, wait, let me strike my memory back. Yes, in fact, that's what we did say in the run up to that area, because we talked about this whole zone being profit taken, and then the prices have receded nicely right to the area of our support, and which was obviously formerly resistance. Will the bodies close below that area and then us still sort of circumnavigate progress by going sideways within this green box, or will we manage to pick up towards the top side? It's all quite laid out fairly clearly really for us. If we actually go up above and stay up above the 58k region in terms of opening and closing basis, then we could be looking at pushing on. I'm going to build out the case for that in just a second with regards to the Bitcoin USD price in here. If we drop down past 56,000, then I'm looking at that region really between 56 and 54,500, 54,500, and then I'm looking down towards 52. Breaking that, then naturally I'm looking for lower lows following on from that. What we're seeing in terms of kind of backing up all this story is the diminishing volume that we've had throughout. You know, we're looking at this area at the minute and saying that pushing past here probably would require an additional bit of volume. We're not seeing that right now. We're looking at the MACD and we're saying that if we come in with this high as the overall high, then this would turn into sort of hidden bearish divergence, and you wouldn't want to see that happening for us overall. That would be kind of negative. And we're looking at this at the below where we had our previous low and comparing it back the way to the past significant lows and saying maybe we've got the case to be made for hidden bullish divergence, and we're right at the precipice between making those decisions, where we're able to draw out our risk management zones so very clearly and easily. And we're also looking at the DMI and saying it's dropped down below 25. It's above 20, so we've got a degree of strength of trend if we were to cross right here, right now, but we haven't crossed. We haven't got that positive trend yet. It's not confirmed with that oscillator as yet, and we're looking up at the stochastic and saying, well, we've come all the way up towards this region. Any sort of turnaround at this point would put us in for this diminishing overall highs in our stochastics. But we need to see if we push past that 54,500 area if we are looking towards the downside, and of course down towards 52. I wouldn't be really wanting to short this massively right here, right now. However, there was obviously the danger of us turning around in this region, so I'm looking to see how things really pan out for us. If we do push towards the top side, then what we're looking at is saying, well, do we actually want to really capitalize on this hidden bullish divergence on the RSI and really push up? We've got a big load of space up above us if we are willing to push up the way. This can be expressed in a number of different ways. One of which is to look at this downward sloping trend line and say that pushing past here could lead to a breakout towards the top side in terms of this, which would be reflected in price action up above. And you'd be looking at that middle box there, that green box there, that bullish box. So that's the situation that we're at the minute. So how do we want to clarify that picture out for everybody? Let's just make it nice and clear. As I see, somebody actually mentioned me in the chit chat there. Moon Shadow, any thoughts about GRT, please, friend? I thank you. Okay, we'll take a look at the GRT chart in a moment or two then for you, buddy old pal. So let's just kind of summarize then the Bitcoin chit chat and kind of come up with a conclusion. Now, I want to say to everybody watching here, by the way, stay tuned for this episode. Make sure you chit chat in there if you want me to look at any coins. This is an interactive TA session. It won't last for more than an hour and a half in total, so make sure you get your requests in, and a chunk of the time of that that designated time will go towards looking at a couple of different things, one of which is our channel account in here. We've got $63. So I'm asking you, the audience, can you, when we do our TA and do little summaries like this, etc., can you think what would you like to see the channel fund invest in, and what would be your entry on it? And we could put an order in on whatever particular token you're thinking about at the minute. I've got $63.95 here to put on trade. So you have to do that. Now, if you want to contribute to this and you think, hey, I really think you should go long on Orchid right now, or the graph, for instance, you can just request the deposit address, and I'd happily give it out here in the chit chat, and you can really just you can contribute to the fund that way, and it's more fun than doing a super chat or anything. It's more interactive and all that good stuff. So that's a good bit of fun for us, for people who are looking to do super chats, and as well for people who just want to interact and take a look at how we're going to spend that $63 that's in there. I'm really hoping Acid Was Taken turns up for this episode to take a look at it, and then we'll be jumping over to look at this. This is NBA Top Shot. I'll be giving everybody a reminder that there is a drop at 7 p.m. British summer time. That's beast mode here in the UK. If you're in the US, it's 11 a.m. Pacific time. You can kind of work that out where you are in the world for your own time zone. There's a drop happening. You might want to join that queue. I'll be doing it. Looking forward to it. And I actually have a pack to open up. So we're doing that. Hopefully Navin Ethan, the big fan of the NBA Top Shots, tunes in. Of course, I chose Boston Celtics as my team there, and yeah, great stuff. So everybody, you might want to stay tuned to us for that bit of sort of fun at the end. So remember, Bitcoin technical analysis coming up right now, the summary. Then we're going to do a quick sort of summary of XRP, then the graph. Then we're going to look through a bunch of altcoins, hopefully some suggestions from the audience. Then we're going to mop up the TA, catching up any that didn't get suggested that I regularly do. And then I'm going to take a look at the fund, your suggested trades. Keep in mind what entries, exits we talk about overall while you're watching, and then let's kind of all bring it all together at the end. How about that? That sounds like a bit of fun idea, right? Yeah, cool. Nice one to see that. Of course, yeah, Kevin, you're right. Matic up 113% this week. Woof. Any thoughts on CHZ, that Chiz coin that was being rewarded with Binance? Asked Anthony Williams, sorry, on Binance, staking that in their vault, I believe, or whatever. You were getting, if you staked cheese, you're getting Alice as the reward. Is that right? So yeah, stuff like that. Interesting stuff with it. What are my thoughts on it? Well, you know, it's a little bit volatile, isn't it? Rocky Outcrop, put the $63 into CHR, Chromia, or One Harmony One, says Moonshadow. Yeah, my friend, I'm liking the way that you're coming here with some potential moonshot efforts for us. I'm liking the sound of some of these suggestions. Randy says, I'm on the disc golf course walking into trees to watch. Wow, nice one. I hope you're having a good time out there. It's actually raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. It's all cats and dogs here where I am. Right, cool, excellent. So this is the Bitcoin summary. Hi friends, Bitcoin summary. Hitting the like button really is appreciated. We're looking at the charts here and we're saying that this low that we had recently in terms of the RSI could be indicating to us that we've got hidden bullish divergence overall. If we're looking at this on the MACD and making the same sort of assertion when we look between the last two significant lows, of course casting our eye past this key structural support that we did push down past in order to put it in, that forms the question for us. If we can push up the way, we could capitalize off that and go for higher targets. If we actually don't manage to take the benefit from that, then what we're looking at is having put in that low, which could of course lead to lower lows and lower highs. And if this forms that lower high right now, then what are our targets down below? If we push past this key area that I'm looking at right here, right now, then what's our targets up above? And where is the best entry for us in terms of just the medium case scenario, somewhere between the two? Let's do this. Let's fall in love. By the way, if you want to hit that like button, really appreciate it. This is the chart here. You can see just here for you that the Bitcoin price action, we had this move on the go. That was from the previous show. Of course, that's worked out very, very well. But that means what's happening up at this stage. And for a lot of people, let's be frank, they are, of course, taking profit having come in here and seen the prices go up 10%. Common enough area to see that happen at. Therefore, we can be looking back down towards that 52.5 or 54.5 as those good entry points. But if you were to enter from this region right here, right now, how would you be managing your risk? And it's probably operating something along these sorts of lines where you're asking the question about, if we push down past this zone here at the 56,000 area, would you be holding on to any longs at that point or not? Given that 54,500 or 55 area is going to be your next pit stop after that, if we just push down past this region. That's why it's very clearly marked on, and this of course would be a much better buy price in around 52, wouldn't it? But we'd have to acknowledge at that stage that this would be a sort of consolidation within a range, with highs up here which are maybe outside the standard deviation, lows which we would hope are outside of that standard deviation, ranging between these two moves overall. Where am I looking for in the meantime, and where have we come from? And this is important to acknowledge right here, right now, that in this whole entire glut of liquidity area that we've been oscillating around at recently, we have got, of course, the 618 golden pocket, and then down below us the 50% area, 56,000 of course being that cutoff point then for your longs, meaning that you would be, if you did push down past that area, taking out the 236 on the Fibonacci if you drew it in from the most recent lows up to the highs, as you can see quite clearly there with that one I drew on. The higher targets up the way, if we do push past this 618, could be looking at the 786, etc. 60,000 round number. Natural place to be looking to. It would still be a lower high. You wouldn't be breaking any sort of downward market structure which is being formed currently. But I would actually say that your target towards the top side, if you are looking at continuation to the overall macro trend, takes us in as high as 76,000, 75,000 really, and I'm targeting 69,420 on that one. Hope you liked what you saw in that section. I'm actually moving on to take a look at Ripple right this second. If you want, you can of course suggest your coins to me during the live stream and I will take a look at them. This one I'm doing for Andy Lee, Ape Andy. Check him out on YouTube. He's a nice guy. Let's take a look at some Ripple technical analysis. So recently we had, now I've got a number of Ripple charts actually. This one here showing us that we had a decent move at some point on the go here. Now I think I had a better chart on the go with Ripple, which would maybe be clearer for summarizing this. Let me just look through a different couple of charts here. Maybe not. Which one is this? Is that Binance? That's Binance there. This is not the chart you're looking for. Okay, cool. So let's just do Ripple again. That's a surprise. I had meant to do this to make it fun and easy and handy and prepare in advance, but there you go. What are you going to do? We can just briefly study this chart that I've already had laid out. Of course, you know, in terms of the most recent lows to highs, where are we looking at here? Yeah, of course, from this low to this high, we've got a 236 coming in at around about that 113 area, something to be very keenly aware of. Let's just ditch all of the drawings so we can do a quick Ripple technical analysis, building up a chart from absolutely nothing right here, right now for us. So friends, ladies, gentlemen, countrymen, Ripple technical analysis, and thank you for joining me for this as well and hitting that like button. Super appreciated. Shout out to Andy Lee, Ape Andy, check him out on YouTube. So we have the recent price action having run up towards the top side very, 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 very well, but we've had a pullback recently, and how does that look to us? And if we form a Fibonacci, as I was just drawing in there, you can see that there's a key level for us coming in there at $1.36, $1.13. Now, we don't want to look at all this noise on here. You want to know how you can come to your own conclusions, etc. Let's build up a chart together and take a look at this TA. This run up towards the top side, we've had a high in there and we've had a low. This low didn't take out this inflection point body lows over here, so that's pretty good. It looks to be like a higher low overall. So far, we've not managed to put in a higher high as yet, but we're putting in a lower high, so we've got a key area to be aware of. Looking at this, just eyeballing it, it looks to be that this has come up to that golden pocket zone here on XRP, and we could be looking at a couple of key areas for potential turnaround. So we'll scope those out in terms of the near-term time frame, and then we'll look up towards the top side to find targets higher up. Let's start off with our first off, where could we be looking to next if we go up towards the top side? And that comes in there at $2.56. So I'm actually going to draw in a horizontal line here, and then we can, of course, you'll see then what would result in a nicely charted out chart for yourself, so you can look back and do this together at home. What I just did there was I drew in a Fibonacci from the high on the 14th of April or so down to that low on the 23rd of April, and then drew in a horizontal at the 1618 coming in there at 265. Quality, excellent, following along fairly nicely so far. Now we also know that this area right here is, of course, the 618 golden pocket zone, like I already spoke about. I'm just going to actually draw in a tiny little box here in and around that area, just so it's like a little bit different. We know what that represents there because it's a box rather than that line, and that is, of course, that 618 zone. And then we can look towards our market structure area, and just bear in mind that we really don't want to be taking out that wick down below, because if we did take that wick out down below, there's actually quite deep targets down there afterwards, and all of them are rapidly accelerating percentage moves. So looking then here, we've got a bit of a chart right now. We know the significance of this area. Moreover, it's where the current prices are, and also it forms the midpoint between these two, a high and a low. Just kind of scoping that out with a Fibonacci tool just to show us where the 50% area lines up with, and you can see that it's just a little bit above where we are right now, and that is, of course, then defining the current range if we incorporate our next potential high. So that's a very greedy way of looking at the charts. Why not? Let's do it like that for a bit of fun. If we know then we need to push past key areas, let's look then at the micro and see which one of these two lines we could be heading towards next. A couple of little things we might want to have on the chart just to give us a quick brief look on the 24-hour before we drop down the way, such as some moving averages. Here we have them. Nice. We can see that the 21 or that's the 18 period exponential moving average there is coming in at 138. That might be a key area for us to bear in mind as well. The 36 is key, but we can move past that, and we're obviously got a nice upward support, like upward structure on them, dropping down towards the 4-hour time frame. Then we can see still sloping towards the top side. Lovely to see on all the moving averages spanned out in the bullish formation that we want to see, so that's good. That gives us a little bit more positivity, but we've got this negative downward slope here with regards to the volume, not really coming in and kicking up yet. But then again, that would express tightening up of the volume before you got a breakout move, perhaps, you know, so we could be looking at that so long as we stay above, like I was kind of saying before, 140 overall. Bringing up the oscillators to give us a bit of confirmation about these recent moves up the way. Did that come in with a bit of divergence? It did. Did these lows come in with divergence? They did. Everything moving along fairly naturally then as a result of that, with lows here which are higher than the previous lows, with lower lows in the MACD. Yes, these highs could be considered to be bearishly divergent. Equally, that could be considered to be hidden bullish. We are looking at a negative cross here in the DMI. Overall, looks to me like then that the best move currently is to wait and hope to get this sort of a move right here. So kind of wrapping up with this one then, I suppose, bringing in the long position tool and looking and saying I would be managing risk by not wanting to drop down past that 124 area, in full acknowledgement that we could go down as far as 87 if we were to kick down the way. The next best buy area is actually probably going to come in at around about that 113 zone that we identified at the start of the show. And well, we actually don't know if it made it into what we were talking about just here, but we talked about it at some point. And then so then where's your profit taking target if we do push past that area? Well, it's going to have to be somewhere up above, you know, where we are currently, but not quite as high in terms of just, you know, taking something off the table there. I would probably be looking to take some profits in around about, let me just see here, 185 I think would probably be where I would be aiming for. Perhaps maybe just that's a bit greedy, and I'd say 179 here with regards to where we had our previous highs. Then that would of course let you like sort of live with any potential risk if we did have a little pullback from that point, aiming up towards the ultimate profit taking target up there. So some part of my trade could be looking at getting an 8.5 or an 8.15 to 1 move if that worked out. You know, no guarantees in life, but that's what I'd be wanting to see happen if we manage to succeed in pushing past that 618. Now, bear in mind, if we don't, then the short move comes in with the same setup over there. So I'm looking at this from the same perspective, saying that if we did push down the way, then I'd be managing my risk in the same sort of concept as already lined out for the positive side. I'd also be taking profit in at around about that 113 area in the same senses that I added out for the positive side, and then be looking down for that full move, giving you a nice risk to reward overall. Ultimately, just a 2-to-1 risk to reward, or a 2.5 to 1 if you incorporate all that risk. But that's what you're having to live with in a world of, you know, a bullish market where we're looking at greater risk in terms of that potential move right now from here, what we're talking about. Excellent, cool, nice one. So that was maybe a bit longer than I wanted to do. In fact, it certainly was. So we're going to need to speed things up when it comes to looking at the next ones. And we already talked about how we're going to take a look at the graph. Okay, so that's GRT, and I'm going to be looking at it versus USDT. So I actually want to put in the correct ticker just here, so I can see Binance. Hi friends then, and thanks for joining me, by the way, everybody. I'm seeing you've got Patrick Pellegrino out there, you've got Market Wizard, good to see you, buddy. It's good. So a question to ask during the show, if we can, is how far will ETH go? We've got Davidas Jackas here talking about Bybit refunding people that got liquidated again. That's crazy, didn't realize that they were doing stuff like that. Thanks, Rocky, says Dilip. You're welcome, my friend. So I'm glad that we covered quite a bit there in terms of stuff. Now, there's other things I actually wanted to talk about. I'm a wee bit distraught with myself for not having my chart that I'd already pre-prepared lined up here, ready to go with the nice stuff to talk about. What are you going to do, though, eh? What are you going to do? A lot of it, what it was talked about, would have boiled down to the recent 4-hour movements. Likewise, by the way, with regards to Bitcoin, I did mention this during the Bitcoin section. If I tuned in 5-6 hours ago to the live stream, and it said, you know, to be taking profits and shorting that, of course, we're looking down towards these areas for, you know, successful short move. That would have been a scalp. So, you know, I've laid it all out from where you would be looking at from that point onwards already. So then let's just jump back to the graph, GRT USDT, and take a look at what we have here. So have I scoped this one out enough for us, and has anything changed too much since the last time I looked at it? No, looking good, excellent. So everything seems to line up perfectly with what we had been talking about. So when I was just talking recently there about how we've come up towards certain areas, and if we pull back, you'll be looking at a downtrend with regards to the XRP potential, you know, and how you could be going down to further areas. That didn't even cover those targets, you know, deeper down. Like I said, I wasn't going to do that even down below the target. We talked about 87 cents with regards to Ripple, and you can see this having done that sort of a structure where we had the pullbacks, pushed up the way, then came on down, ultimately fulfilling a move down the way, and then and seeing that we had this kind of, you know, heavier and more visible bullish divergence overall across the board. Now, bearing in mind as well, when you're looking at divergences, that you're going to get kind of your eyes going to be drawn to little in-between pocket zones where you think that you kind of covered off everything and it's all burnt off, etc. But when you look at things from a broader perspective, you can see at this low down to the next low that, of course, that was bullishly divergent, and you can smooth that out by jumping up a time frame and checking in with the 24-hour time frame just to see how that all lines up. My goodness, we really did go full pedal to the metal with the TA in the past on that one. And so anyway, you can see then, of course, on the 24-hour time frame that it doesn't actually smooth out there, and it's not divergent. Really, it's just continuation towards the downside. So in terms of the stochastics, you have got that divergence. In terms of the MACD, you see it's the same scenario. You're getting that in between. The overall movement down the way is bleeding off in terms of its overall kind of signature. However, you know, it's a case of whether or not you consider that to be the low, and you should. So that's kind of a confusing message. Totally fair enough, right? Well, need to be aware of these things. Overall, I would say then, looking at this in the 4-hour time frame, that it's kind of, you know, tentatively, I would say it's bullishly divergent, and we'd be looking to kind of capitalize on that, which has already happened with this big move up the way. Sorry, I'm already spending too much time looking at this one. So I guess I was a bit distracted. This zone is going to be super important to us. It's no longer sort of the neckline zone. It's not what we need to think about it like overall. Instead, we can just think about it as being the sort of the zone that is obviously a big liquidity zone here, and we could be looking at between the sort of this horizontal line that drawn in at around about $2, the round number, and $2.20, where the 618 is, as your next overall profit taking target. Now, the most immediate profit taking target on the graph here is coming in at the 382 at 178. So that would be the most immediate one. Now, that's of course within spitting distance. It's not going to set the heather alight, and really, you know, you should be kind of thinking less greedily and going and aiming towards $2 if you are trading from right here, right now, and given the risk that you're looking at. I think that it's fairly reasonable to think that you get a retest of, pardon me, 142, but we have, of course, you know, at the minute got this downward trend. So if we did retest that, then it's a much better entry than where you are here. Easier to manage your risk. If we do push down past these zones, then it's not good. Overall, I'm thinking that this is probably just turning out to be a bull flag, much in the same way we've seen previously, and I'm actually anticipating higher highs, which is nice because the further the bull flag comes down, the better the high potential gets. So because that's the low over there, we know that the highs, you know, looking up the way. So I'm going to say $4 is our target on this one in terms of where we're looking. So 3 targets, you know, in the meantime, if you're scalping this, you're looking towards 178. If you're trading this over the next few days, you're looking towards that $2 to $220 if we are able to push up that way, and then I'd say $2, you know, and then or just shy of that, and then afterwards you're looking towards the 1618, and that's the one that everybody wants to hear about. So I'm just going to make a sort of little summary then for people watching along here with this. Right, excellent. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of this for now. Hello, my friends. This is, of course, what is this? The graph. I'd forgotten for a second. You know, I just chart what's in front of me. You know, that's the thing. Okay, so friends, countrymen, the graph, it's had a downward trend. There is the touch of bullish divergence on the 4-hour time frame. It's not so super visible on the 24-hour time frame. It is hinting at it there on the MACD. I think there is the potential for us to see continuation here towards the top side, although I'm a little bit worried about a couple of areas. I'm going to point those out to you. Look at the potential for a decent move, where the best kind of value entry would be on one if you're to put an order in, and then of course the target towards the top side. There's 3 targets actually towards the top side really for us in the meantime that we should be aware of. The first one towards the top side, if you're just kind of treating this in the here and now basis, is coming in there at 178. The next target towards the top side on this one, if you're looking at it in the meantime, is between $2 and $2.20. It's a zone. I know it's a 10% zone, but that's actually representative of a horizontal support line, a liquidity zone running up towards previous resistance, and the 236 on a Fibonacci retracement. It's a significant area to be aware then, of course, looking beyond that, we are, of course, talking about our previous highs, etc. And you could be talking about $3, but I've got an even better target for us, which I'm really interested in achieving, and that's $4. I'm going to put a horizontal line in there and just show you that this is, of course, the 1618 Fibonacci retracement from the highs on the 10th of February down to the lows we've had right now. So the harder they fall, the bigger they rise, if you want to say it like that. That's a bit kind of hopium-tastic, but that's kind of the way that it's working out. This is a bull flag, if you like, in a sense. We're looking towards the top side, and that target overall isn't even massively isn't egregious, you know, looking up the way, isn't necessarily insane to be saying that we could be looking up that. Of course, it is more than 100% up from where we are right now. So that is what I'm aiming for on this one. Now, what were we saying before about those worrying areas, Rocky? You know, hey, important to always, you know, stay alert at the charts and be aware of where you could be betrayed by these moves. And I would say that there's good chance that the prices could drop down towards 140, giving you an even better launch pad for going up the way. I'd like to see us put in a higher low and just kind of trend towards the top side. Not having managed to do that so far in this 4-hour chart or 24-hour chart showing us this downward trend. Dropping down towards that 4-hour to make this whole area a little bit clearer. You can see that we've had this upward movement so far. We've had done it without divergence on the RSI overall. Yep, done it without that. But there's this MACD divergence just here, kind of giving us a little hint. The stochastics giving us a little hint as they've turned around just here. So, you know, if you were to be managing your risk accordingly, movements down towards that zone where we have it scoped out at that horizontal line at 140s are kind of reasonable to think that they could happen. So if you were to break beyond that, I wouldn't want to expose myself to too much risk towards that side. However, I would say that something along these sorts of lines, you know, where you're looking down at pushing down past this area as no longer being worth being in a trade, but getting in closer towards it would probably work out better overall. Now, far be it from me to not tell you to FOMO into a position, because you do what you want to do. But if we do make it towards the top side, those targets reiterated again, right there just above our head in terms of that 178. I'd say that to be conservative. You could call it 180. Then, of course, the next target up the way, $2 to 220, and then the next target up the way afterwards, if you just discount the sort of previous highs at $3, where there will be profit taken, is of course up as high as this here at $3.95 or $4. Okie dokie. So that's what I'm looking at. Thanks for what that's what I'm looking at in terms of that one. Right. So what I said here at this point in the show I was going to do to everyone watching along. By the way, if you could hit the like button, I'd super appreciate it. If you could share it with your friends, I'd super appreciate it. Be sure to get your comments in as well if you want me to take a look at something in particular overall. I just wanted to show people in terms of the recent TA that we've been doing, just where the prices in the market are. And I think it's fairly easy to do it. I can almost do it without really much commentary in terms of the chitter chatter really here. But here's a quick market summary for everybody, right? Just going to run through a whole load of really popular altcoins. We're at an area where we said that we would be taking profit at before. It's a liquidity zone, and it's also a really decent launch pad for a move towards the top side, taking us up towards a target perhaps here at $7.45 on 1 inch versus USDT. So if 1 inch then is actually capable to stay above $5.50, then that's what we're able to say is possible. Now, the move to get in at was from the 420s zones, or perhaps even as low as 380 as I'm looking at here, to go up towards the top side overall. If we do drop down the way and we're looking for a higher low, I'm going to say 445 on that one, and this has all been working out fairly perfectly so far. So continuing on the way then, what else are we looking at? Cardano at the minute, we've managed to persevere above the 236 in there at $1.21. I don't have massive amounts of targets scoped out here overall for us. I would like to point out that those highs came in with, of course, bearish divergence here between the last in this section, you know, as we ran up towards the last high coming in at 16th of April, pushed down, didn't take out key support overall. We've managed to recover so far. We're right at the key area again. Launch pad from here, more risky area. Would have preferred to have taken the trade early. Having missed that one and being too sort of prudent to take this one, I'd be looking down to 120 with a target initially up there at 155, but I'm now starting to look towards the next target if we get continuation overall bullishness in the market, and I'm looking towards, you know, overall in the market dominance, total market and everything, market cap and Bitcoin dominance, and the Bitcoin price itself, etc. But seeing Ethereum run along leading this, if we do get an alt season, the first major destination for this one's coming in at 195 there on Cardano. So looking at other coins, for instance, Anchor, we talked a lot about this recently. These lows were, of course, incredible, but we've moved up towards the top side. We've got this area in here at 177, which is a liquidity zone. Same sort of story. Can we push past it? If we do, the next target up the way is coming in at sort sort of at 19 cents here in Anchor USD. Then you're looking up towards 21 cents. We could be pushing up towards 25 cents as well on this one. That would be my target, 25 cents. And actually, let's be frank, I am as well targeting up as high as 29 cents on this one. But that's a whole big zone for us to kind of cross those bridges when we come to them. In the meantime, I'm saying, are we going to see a pullback? And if we do, we're looking down towards 15 as a sort of area for saying, like, 15.5, decent, nice, tasty area to get in at. That would be a great move up the way. If we push down past that, then we've got short-termism, things to look at. Just bringing in, for example, in the 1 hour time frame, you'd be looking at that and saying left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline at where our support and resistance is at 15.5, then a measured target taking you probably down the way towards 12.9. I'm not going to measure that out. Those are historical support and resistance, which we already drew in the past, but that's where I would probably be aiming towards that region, So that's why I'd manage my risk accordingly in that zone. Then looking at other ones that we've talked about as well, band right at the area for taking profit. Okay, fantastic, well done. We've been up here as high as 19 bucks. Boom, we would have taken profit on there. Don't know when I drew this in, but it was certainly not today, and I knew all about that in advance. So that's nice to see. Same story again. This is a story, but we're slightly below it at the minute. What we're looking to see is, can we push on up? We did have arguments to be made that if we had have gone up any more, $1 more, then we'd have, and closed any higher on this one, we'd have been looking at bearish divergence in these last two highs. Counterintuitive point then to be made is that we've had a pullback, which has saved us, sort of steered into the skid, if you like, and maybe we could look towards extending up the way. This is probably going to be an area that we would retrace back down to afterwards. However, there is this overall notion at the minute in terms of band as well, so this could probably be visible on a number about the way that this is narrowing out the way. We're winding up and we're obviously consolidating in a sense with a spring getting tighter. Can we move towards the top side or the downside? So statistically, you would be looking towards downside movements. We already have that kind of scoped out. We would be looking for entries happily to get in at around about 14 if we can manage to maintain the bullish scenario. But then, of course, from where we've already been in at, we're still looking up towards 22. 18 to 22, it doesn't sound like big numbers, does it? Does it? Well, it's 22% movement up the way, so it's certainly not to be sniffed at. What else do we want to look at? I've got a bunch of these already, and I've only made it to the B's, really. You can see here, Bitcoin Cash, again, same story. So that's all the way up towards 1,000. Nice to see. Dropping down the way on this one, a little bit more risky target there, $800. I think that's a bit much to be really targeting down the way. I would like to say then, for sort of risk management zone from where we are right here and at the minute, taking out this wick here of the lows down on the 1st of May, those lows. That's the 1 hour time frame, I'm talking about here. This is fairly short-term stuff. But if we take out that wick from just there, then at sort of 950, then maybe we'd be looking down towards that. That happens to be where the 16180 is. Can you see how perfectly that worked out for us? It's not a surprise then when we see this story continue. Or maybe just because we did Bitcoin Cash, we should do BSV. We didn't actually make it quite as high as our target. There could be 10% left in the table for this one. Not too sure on it though. We don't know. Could be moving down the way if we see this want to perform bearish divergence, and the wedge that we were talking about on the other alts, if this could come into some sort of serious problem for us. But this is actually moving extremely nicely, parabolically, maybe catching some of that Ethereum tailwind. Who knows? Looking here at Koti, this is more of a mid-range coin that we've got in the minute, not managing to actually having achieved the heady highs really up there, but it's put us perfectly in that 50-50 position zone. Gives us an easy target. Same sort of deal, looking towards that wick low on the 2nd of May where we saw on the previous example, but here at $0.35, so 35 cents. If we take that out, I'm looking down the way towards that 31-cent zone. Having come up as far as this here, I'm also still remaining targeting that 46 target. Breaking past that, really lovely targets towards the top side, ladies and gentlemen. We're looking at coming in here at perhaps 70 cents. That's a nice movement up the way. Does anybody want to take a guess before I finish drawing this in where the 236 would be at, etc.? Well, we're actually at the 236 right now. We're looking down here and saying if we take these areas out, then, well, the Fibonacci's don't line up 100% perfectly on this one. That's what I'm saying. We never quite made it up towards the targets like we did with the other ones, but ended up in the middle of the range. But so long as we don't take this out, don't realize it, we can stay up the way. But overall, it's the same sort of story with our targets actually still remaining the same as they were before, having taken them from historical support and resistance. Now I could go on all day. I've only made it down as far as the C's, and over here on curve, for example, same sort of a story. We're at the 236 just here, and you can see the potential for a wedge. The target towards the top side, 369. If we do 366, and if we do then push past that, I would expect probably to see profit taking coming in at our previous highs, with again a rebuy zone coming in here with sort of support flip resistance. I would probably want to reduce that down a little bit just at that point there, just so that you remember that you've got, of course, a good degree of volatility here. Moving on the way, what else is there? I mean, there's so many I could talk about. Here's DOT real quick. Nice one, nice work up, nice movements up the way. Still think that there's a potential to get a nice rebuy in here at $35. If you are looking at DOT, that would be my nice first sort of rebuy zone in that region just in here. So I'm looking to this one and saying, can we get a move perhaps on this one with a couple of different profit taking targets? If we were to actually manage our risk by looking at as far as deep as that, then that kind of be uncomfortable for me. I'd probably be looking closer towards managing my risk a little bit sort of tighter on this one with regards to whether or not we get fulfilled movement off of a wedge taking us out past previous market structure. This would be kind of the entry, kind of that, and then of course I could maybe reconsider it at that next level down the way if we do actually achieve 31 overall. But then I'm looking up and saying, well, first off, you know, just to get back to where we were today, if this was the move overall, you're looking at a 5-to-1, but it could be looking up as high as, of course, a lovely jubbly move all the way up towards the $40 where our next target is, and that would give you a 7-to-1 depending on when you got in. Now you could of course make this quite easily a 1.5-to-1 if you're looking at these sorts of levels, and that would be a big risk to take, I think, with regards to this movement that we've had just recently over the period of the last day. But this is exactly what you need to see having happened if you were looking for a shorter term move in the way. Therefore, taking it from where we are now, if I was fully greedy on it, looking towards that wick low on the 2nd of May, like I already spoke about, you've got targets coming in there. You're getting your 1.5, you're actually getting closer to 2-to-1, and then I'm looking on even beyond. If that's how bullish you want to be, then bear in mind to actually have a higher target up than that 40 target. And on this one, I'm looking as high as 54, and that could even give you a risk to reward trade of something around about 11.5-to-1 on that one. Is that what that says? It's really always hard to read these when the dot is over the top. Yeah, 11.3-to-1 on that. So let's just keep going, I suppose. I'm making good enough progress. 45 minutes into this live stream. I hope everybody has been getting some sort of value along the way. You can see in the past I've done some education with regards to the DMI here, obviously educating people about that. So I'll just move that all the way off there. That was obviously a really good lesson. Nice one. We had this volatility showing up here on terms of EGLD. What is this again? Elrond Gold. Now we had this volatility. I want people to be aware of it, and this is giving us that same chit chat that we've had with regards to the recent price action. If I am looking up the way, the target is right there. We're actually kind of already done it today, so close enough is close enough. Now you could want to see the prices going up as high as $207. So what you're saying is, I still believe the prices can move up another 5.5%. That represents the largest risk that you had within trading this range overall, as we can see denoted by the clear lines on the mark on the charts, and how we've moved right up towards this zone with a good degree of alacrity and a nice pinch of gusto. And then of course we have asked the question at the minute, are we able to structurally take out these highs? Now we have done with the body close. We could easily see a retrace, and I'd be looking down and saying that we don't want to take out the lows that we had recently. Where's that 2nd of May low? Just in here, $171. Obviously that's a huge move away from where we are just now, but it really depends how you want to do it. Your appetite for risk has to be fairly high with this one given where we are, but what's the payoff on it? Boom, it's all the way up here as high as $277. So depending on what you're talking about, from where the prices are right now towards just the lowest area of that range, you're talking about 40%. So if we do flick from one range to the next, one type of movement to another type of movement within a zone, within a zone, within a zone to another zone, then that's what I would be looking at with regards to that one. But this volatility giving me a big warning sign saying that, you know, we could very easily be revisiting that 174 area. Don't make me come back here on Wednesday and be all like, oh, Mr. Nostradamus overall. I'm not predicting the future right now. This is called risk management. It's how you make money when you're trading, and this is what you actually need to do if you want to change your trading from a sort of gambler's mentality to an overall productive, healthy, reliable environment for yourself, for your own psychology to live in. Doge has done exactly what we wanted to see it do as well. I mean, it's remarkable, again, with it having done exactly that. What was this then in terms of, if you're just after saying to me, Rocky, that this is not Nostradamus, what exactly was this? Well, you know, this is again saying that the risk of holding on to positions at the point of which the prices achieve this zone increase exponentially within this area until such times as we're past it, and then we could be looking up towards 61 cents, 62 cents. Is that really that incredible? Well, people would have been telling me it was incredible when the prices were down there at 20, and I was saying that we were coming up towards 40 off the back of various different elements on the chart. We're still looking towards those zones. Naturally, now that we've come towards them, this is a time when a lot of people would say, but I need to know right now how to trade this. And of course, you know, that's you experiencing FOMO at that point. But it's actually not that difficult to figure it all out. Looking at our previous areas of support and resistance, we have to acknowledge the fact that we could see the prices return down as low as 34.85. How does this work out? And how can you just make assertions like that? You didn't draw that in right there now, Rocky. How is that? Well, we drew it in the past, and we don't kind of mess about when we take consideration of our areas. Drawing a Fibonacci tool and showing us that that lines up now with where the prices have come as high as at the 236 Fibonacci zone, meaning that if we did push down past that, then we could be looking down towards targets such as 25 cents here, even with regards to Doge. And overall, that would be a big consolidation range overall here. And at the end of that period of time, people would be thinking quite worriedly with regards to whether or not this was distribution or accumulation, with various arguments out there in the world. So if some bigger accounts do want to either accumulate or distribute, and either way to do it, they're going to have to push the market. And pushing the market involves a lot of buying and selling, which is where you, the small guy, the fish, comes into play. If you want to actually take advantage of that, then you just go with the flow at the given time. You don't really need to know if it's distribution or accumulation. If you recognize that the overall structure of those two regions, or those regimes, if you like, are going to operate more or less the same, you can just swim along and then wait for confirmation as to where the markets are going overall thereafter. And that is this zone right now. So if patience is going to pay a buck or not, then we're looking to see prices past 45, 46 to try and carry us up towards that 60. Failure to do so is not that big a deal, because we could still be feeling long on this anywhere between that 35 to 34 price point. I know that it's a fairly big chunk down from where we are now, talking 20%, but if we push past back that, then we're going down to 25 cents thereafter, and that's how that could flow along there. We talk about the market flow all the time on the channel. I can see here in terms of the past, we talked about how there was a swing failure thing. Do you know what a swing failure is? Have you ever seen one of these? A lesson that I gave out in the past. Now, I wrote that in, and I have an arrow here pointing towards this low, clearly pointing out that there would be a swing failure if we were to take out that low. And we can see that we did actually take that out, but then rejected massively. So much for swing failures. Well, the lesson was there, but you can see in this period of volatility, it actually pushed past that zone. Well, in terms of a failure, of a swing failure, I think that was fairly noticeable when the prices started rocketing back up towards the top side. But that was an example of one. Why was that an example of one? Let me just see. Where's the bullish divergence? There's the bullish divergence. There's the low. That's that. Came up, failed to take it out, prices dropped down the way. Oh, the swing failure thing did work out. In terms of percentages, it's easy to forget when you're looking at a chart like this that movement down the way was a full 10% movement. It's like saying the Bitcoin prices are going to go to 55,000 when they're at 60,000, and people are like, "Oh, that's a tradable event, right?" Or the Bitcoin prices are going to go from 50,000 to 55,000. That's a big thing. Or 46 to 51. You know, so these sorts of things, whatever. That happened, right? Okay, fine, fair enough. It did happen. But then once we recovered, boy, oh, did we recover, taking out that high. Anyway, that was a digression I shouldn't have really bothered going into, but it was just interesting to see. We've made it past a whole load of areas. Right, obviously from the past. This is another liquidity zone here from the past. It's still as valid as it is now, and we've still got moves on for us for the future. So okay, good, nice one. Where have we come from then in terms of the recent price action with Engine Token? Looking from those highs to these lows, you can see the 236 was there at that region, made it all the way up to 382, various junk in the meantime. 618 coming in right here. This is where we're headed to. If we push past 283, there's a move towards $3, right? So if you're looking for a move, then there's a couple of different ones that you could be taking. For instance, sort of long positions with momentum coming from that region up the way, saying that you don't want to be taking out that zone down below, and we could be looking up here and you've got more than 1.5 to 1. You could get 2 to 1 depending on how you really want to think about things. Looking anywhere in this sort of 250 region for an entry on that one, up towards 260. Actually, I should be more like saying that, up towards that 1618. Failure though on this and taking out the next level down past this next Fibonacci. Yeah, taking out the low, taking out 248. I would just ditch that trade. Looking overall at that one with the potential for us to move up the way, and boy oh do we move up the way. You can see these all line up with our targets as well. Excellent, nice to see that. So our target past that's $4 for the 3, and then $4 for the 100% retrace on Engine versus USDT here, and then 1618 in there at $5.39 for the next area. So that's a really good one to be looking to. Again, in terms of profit moves, you're looking at the potential for this region to give you a taste all the way up of 102% to get towards the highs up there on that, if it were to, of course, maintain these areas. And it's not massive, not massively complicated. If we bust down past that 382, then the region that you're kind of coming in at is going to be in it around about just here. It's not hard to see why, for example, just taking a Fibonacci from the lows to the highs, and you'll see that the 618 comes in there. Now it's not, it's very common, and then of course you see that lines up with that box just there, so confirmation for you is at home. So I could keep going. Only really made it as far as the E's. We already did GRT earlier on with the chit chat. So how are we doing there? Let me just check in with the chit chat here on the stream. I see that I've lost viewers during that period of time, so people aren't interested in looking through the alts. There we go. Right, Rocky Outcrop, brother, I bought it 3 months ago at 233. I got burned bad. I didn't sell. I just wanted to go up beyond 233. Woof. Jeez. You're welcome, by the way, Moon Shadow. Let me see how else we have here. Thank you, guys. I will think I FOMO in with my whole portfolio. I was new to crypto. Yeah, people do that, man. That's just the way it is. It's no big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, obviously, but you weren't some sort of special Egypt for doing something like that. It's kind of like almost a rite of passage, I'd almost say, to be honest with you. It's that common. You're so right, FOMO does equal bad. Just watch Rocky and learn how to read charts, and if you're interested in certain crypto, don't buy because everyone else is. Read the white paper and research the token first. There you go. That's a good tip. Research it a wee bit, and then of course, learn to do some TA because you'll really benefit from it. Sweet. Somebody's asked, Davidus has asked if there's any upcoming setups on Seoul. Taking a look at Seoul here, you can see really nice movements towards the top side. Again, this is like Ethereum. We'll be going back to the regular charts here. What can I see? I'm at 55 minutes. 55 minutes. Okay, this part of this section has to be more fun. I guess the last section was just too dry. It was too bullet. People don't want to have that happening. Give them a headache, right? I guess that's what it was. Let's have a more fun bit of the stream now here for us. And we'll go back and take a look at Ethereum and all that as well. This is where the 236 is, I believe, where that line is there, by the way. Let's draw this in. That lines up with our previous high. So let's just have a look then at the structure on the way up here. And the momentum on the way up here I was talking about there. Or the strength. Or whatever soft word you want to use, because I don't really consider it to be doing any of those sorts of things. Actually, to be perfectly honest with you. It's strongly trending. We talked about this the other day. We obviously talked about the target up towards the top here. We pushed on past it, come back and retested it. Giving you a perfect example of being able to do, well, we didn't quite retest it, but perfect example of taking profits and in the region where you want to take profits at, and then getting a second bite of the cherry if you believe that you're wrong to have taken profits, and then benefiting from, what is that, a 15% discount on the price, So the trade setup on this one at the minute is still it's so like, you know, in terms of the bigger term timeframes, it's just parabolic. So looking at it on the smaller ones and just trying to figure out where the key regions really are, it's still going to be that line, isn't it? Even if I draw in another Fibonacci, for example, I missed that one just slightly. Still going to be that line there. I mean, really short term, do you want to look for a lower high there, higher low? Yeah. Friends, countrymen, Solana is giving up people massive discounts all the time. It's been fantastic trading this one recently. You can see here when we got the highs on 26th of April, the prices dropped down then just within 3 days, actually less than 3 days, within a couple of days, and by 15%. Then, of course, moved towards the top side, and after that 15% drop down, you're looking at having come in here and given a 25% movement up the way. Fantastic, but when you just think about it in simple terms, if you're trading that with leverage and using anything over 4x, for instance, you'd get liquidated very frequently with throughout these markets. You know, the volatility throughout these moves in the market, the volatility is real. This is the 1 hour time frame, so we get to see that in action. In terms of the 24-hour time frame, it kind of smooths it out a wee bit, and it just looks like big movements up the way. And a lot of people think to themselves when they get into trading for the first time, oh my goodness, how did I just get liquidated here? This thing is going up, and then they watch the prices go past where they actually entered at the first place and how they would have been in tons of profit, and they kick themselves and they think, why, how can I understand it? That little snippet there will probably help you understand that completely. Therefore, what are we looking at with regards to Sol at the minute? And we could actually anticipate a movement down as far as 44 or even 40 in this region just here, giving us a decent discount on the prices as they actually stand. If they came from where they are just there down towards the 43, 44 area, then you're looking at 7 or 8% off. So if you're looking for 5% off your Sol, you're going to get it. You can get those discounts. Just be patient with the markets. Now, if the markets do move on up the way, then that's a shame. What we'll be looking at then at that point is our previous highs and saying, are we able to do it with any degree of momentum? We did pull back from our highs with what would have been very much bearish movements there. So, you know, counterintuitively, maybe we did enough to avoid that. But actually, what we're seeing here in terms of these short-term movements is that the ADX is showing us as a degree of chop, whilst we have negative movement here and on the prices showing up on the ADX, and saying that maybe, you know, we could be looking for that discount. My current trade setup for this one is that, of course, if I wanted to, I could go wild on it and go and everything, but I actually think that, you know, you're taking on board enough risk really overall. If you look beyond those current targets, I could be able to get in here and manage my risk accordingly in terms of risk to reward by looking and saying that if we can actually, you know, push up the way, then we could easily be looking at a 2.5 to 1, 3 to 1 move up here towards the $55 region fairly easily as the next move up. But have to be quite concerned with movements down here. I won't want to hold on to positions down to this point, catching a knife, but if it bounces off here and comes back up the way, I'd be happy enough to take a look at it. So if we come down towards 38 and then start to recover, okie dokie. But if we don't do that, then we'd be looking down even further, and I don't want to be involved in long positions that are massively underwater like that. If we did want to get in at things right here, right now, then where would I be managing my risk at? And frankly, you know, there's a degree of overlap given the amount of the volatility that you're looking at here. So I'd probably be managing my risk at around about that 45 area, bearing in mind that I did just say that I would be looking instead to try and get in at one at 44. It depends on your own sort of entry into the market on that one. Overall, what am I saying on this one though? That of course we're extremely bullish. Everything's been going very, very well. There has been little hints that would be pullbacks along the way, such as times where we've had bearish divergence, and what we've actually seen coming in as a result of those divergence moments have been big pullbacks. It just doesn't register when you're looking at a chart which is overall so bullish. You're seeing 25%. So when I look at this high and I look at this high and I see that between the two of them on the 4-hour time frame it's bearishly divergent, I'm looking at it thinking, yeah, maybe we do get one of those 25% pullbacks, in which case then, you know, you're looking at your price up there and you're looking down towards certain areas, and then suddenly that 38 zone becomes that better buy. If I was just trading this myself, I'm actually probably got the patience to wait for that, or else recalculate how things go if we take out previous highs, if we're looking at a breakout or not. There you go, Davidas. I hope that was interesting enough for you there. Something, a bit of a perspective perhaps at least on it. So 1 hour into the show, that gives us plenty of time to go back and do the ones that we like to do. So I've got Ethereum on the go over here. Going to take a look at Ethereum just now and see what we can see. Again, just want to point out to everybody that we had that in the past and that's done now. You could have been looking up towards here. Fantastic. I did talk about it on the show. I did say that I look for 5-to-1 targets myself. I did say that I'd be looking up towards that 3,300 area or whatever it was that I was talking about. To have to double check to see what my target exactly was, but I also did say that $3,000 region would be a profit taking one, and well, we had a bit of an inflection around here we did have a bit of an inflection around here, but what we've seen over the last day really is just that we've managed to just push on past. There was this question of the doji that was between those 2 days. You can see here this one, and then of course we did manage to just push on past the way. This is of course then giving us this extreme upward movement, and it's very nice to see. Volume diminishing, but we're in all-time highs, of course, so there's not that natural liquidity you get from people just kind of opening and closing positions at the area they got in and out at. Hey, nice to see you, Peter. Good to see you, buddy. And then what we're seeing here is that the prices then have continued to go up. Well, groovy, right? Great. So we're at the 40 area, typical for a turnaround. I mean, am I expecting a turnaround soon? Yes. By the way, what does it mean when you say I already said to people that I had a profit taking target coming in there at that area at 5-to-1, and that's where I was looking at? I have to double check to see exactly where it was, yada yada. What that means is that it's hard for me to look past the point where we could expect to see a pullback, and we're looking at this having come up to the ADX, for example, having come up towards the 40 line here. It pulled back in the past at the last time, and it's come up towards the 40 line here, and it could pull back. Now, if it did that, it would give you a touch of divergence here on the ADX. So could we still target 3,300 or so? Yeah, bit greedy. 3,200 is much better. Where we are here at the minute is not a problem either. If you wanted to take some of your profits, far be it from me to claim to be a financial advisor, because I'm certainly not. So it's obviously on you to decide how you want to do all of your trades here. But we're coming up, and we've managed to put in this high all the way up with regards to RSI, and on the MACD we've managed to do that nicely as well. So I'm not overly belligerent about this aspect of the potential for a hint of divergence on the DMI down below as well, and we've got the sort of the stochastics here showing us that we've got a nice strength. Now, what this would tie up to in terms of RSI would be rejection of the oversold territory at that point. Fantastic, giving you the chance to go in for a blow off top area over where you could see the prices rocket up the way, and then of course have a pullback afterwards, which is a sort of quote unquote healthy pullback. That could happen at the next stop along the way, but like I said, you wouldn't be a problem to take profit at this point here. And of course the overall bullishness in the market absolutely remains. It's just about how much a sort of irrationality in inverted commas you can take. Can you take 10% down towards 3,000? I dare say you probably could or should, but then can you take it down as far as these areas like 2,400, 500? Maybe not so much. From right here, right now, wouldn't want to be pushing it too hard on that one. Now, if we do push on up the way, of course, we're in a strong parabolic movement up the way. Where's it going to get a key insight for this one? Perhaps if we look over here at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, we might see something that might learn us a little bit more. It's the same story, but here we are. We're looking at this having come towards the 50 area. Yes, we could push on a little bit, just like we've spoken about, but is it typical to get turnarounds at these points here? Well, I mean, yes. This is the example, I suppose, to show people here, right? The ADX came up towards the 50 area, right in this zone at the 7th of August 2020, and we're discussing it and saying, could we go on a wee bit more? And could we? Yes, we could. Would you be wise to take profits here? I mean, you could have done, etc. You could then have seen the prices going up another 10, 20, whatever percent. It's the same sort of deal. Do I expect to see a pullback at some point? Yes, I do. Am I kind of anticipating another movement up the way? Yes, I kind of am on this and the Ethereum USD one. And of course, what do these candles look like? Do they look like sufficient enough pullbacks? No, but what about the percentage of them? 10%. So these little red candles that are just hidden in amongst all of our upwards movement are, of course, significant pullbacks that will get you absolutely wiped out if you were to 10x long. Guaranteed. right? Liquidated, your account gone, all your money lost if you're to 10x long with that sort of risk in front of you, and that's real. So what's missing from these other channels that talk about things like that? Well, perhaps that. What could you survive? Maybe, and I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, but you could maybe take 3 or 4x and be okay, but you're looking at a massive amounts of risk if you're doing that still as well. Now we could push up the way, etc., etc. At some point in the next wee while, I expect to see a healthier pullback of some sort, unless we go extreme madness zone. Extreme madness zone, by the way, means that you might want to pop on the parabolic SAR and just move your stop loss up, etc., and use that as a take profit overall, and then just kind of let your hair down, live a little. Chainlink USD, we're at the 40 price point. Now, the 40 price point is obviously lower than our previous high, and it's naturally enough then when we look at this and see that we've come in here with the RSI not being really, enough strength movement up the way here to achieve a movement past our previous high without a degree of divergence. Now, this is not that massively complex. What we're looking at here in terms of when you talk about RSI, etc., and how there would have been that divergence is the result of the calculations between the recent highs and the lows and where we've moved up to since. It's always going to look like that until we take out our previous high, right? There's not enough of the price movements possibility here for the maths to work out, the mathematics, the math, to work out so that it wouldn't look like that, right? So what we are still targeting on this one is $53. Yes, we're at $40. This is, of course, the potential for us to get a pullback here on this one. But what can I say, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, this move, this suggested move, the way that it worked out, the move up towards it, the trading within the range here on this one, the $29 to the $37 move, the movement up then towards $42, all worked out perfectly. If you wanted to get your next best entry, 35, I pray for you. That would be nice for you to get that. I'd be hoping that you can, because of course that's where I start to kind of think about whether or not I'd be managing my risk. It'd be even better if you could get in at about 32, then that would be nice for you. That would actually be nice for you, because of course at that point I would, be happy enough to sort of sell out my position, whatever I had left over in profit to you, to kind of send you on your way, and then I'll join you in the party again whenever we got past critical price points at that stage, most likely. Although I'm a little bit reticent to say that, a little bit, because I'm not trading down towards $32 from $40. I'm not taking that 20% and losing that 20% to the ether. No thanks. So that's kind of a bit spurious. That wouldn't actually happen. But anyway, looking here at $55.65, saying that is our next target, right? Can we get there right away? Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see a pullback here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see this pullback coming in without us having had any divergence, and no hidden divergence either. So what I'm looking at is saying that I wouldn't be surprised to see us getting a pullback, somewhere between the stochastics getting up as high as 94 and where they are now at 88 on this one. So we can just kind of go along here nicely now. If we just want to jump up straight away up to that zone, that's totally fine. But then I would then expect again to have a retrace back down towards 43, etc., and giving you another opportunity to get a second bite of the cherry. But what is this overall? What is this? Well, this is massively high, all-time highs, etc. This zone overall is not really forming part of a pattern, etc. It's just showing you the overall upward price movements. If we do push down past that 35 zone, what I really want to say to you is that we could go down towards 26. But I'm looking towards the top side still on this one, and where could it go? And you can see there's a million different examples of a million different ways of working this out, but let's just give ourselves the sort of the easiest way of doing it just now, and saying that we could be looking up towards, well, lo and behold, my profit taking target of $55 on that one. So how about that? Then Tezos here for us, Tezos is we had that wedge. We spoke about it, everybody knew, we came down the way, got the full measured move and then some, because we went all the way as far as the 618 golden pocket, came back up the way, gave us 1, 2, this is 24-hour time frame, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, depending on how you want to look at it, bites of the cherry to get in on this move. Subsequently to that, we've then had 1, 2 extra opportunities to get in at around about 544, and then we have, of course, gone on up to 579, and we're in line to be coming in for our profit taking targets anywhere in between sort of $6 and $6.30 as it happens. There's 5% up for debate there with regards to that one, but where have we come from so far? There's the 236, and we came down as far as the 618. Who wants to take part in the whole maths game here? Who wants to take part in it? This is what this does to you, by the way, when I point this out to you, is it makes a chart go from something like this, which to the new trader is illegible, and it's just like, I don't know what to look for. What is the relationship? What is the relationship? You know, and it's overwhelming. They can't process it quick enough because they don't have the mental constructs for it, right? To then you use a few lines like this, and you kind of get to understand, and you look at the relationship between certain numbers and where the markets so often move between, and you start to think, holy gosh, maybe there is a system in here. Maybe there's something that we could all learn from. And you drag this down the way, and you see that we come up as high as the 50% point. This general zone in here where we had a profit taking line coming up towards the 618. That's why that's in there around about this zone. We're aware of the, you know, this is that we're aware of this area, but then having then come up as high as this so far, then looking down towards our previous areas where the wicks were pushing down past and our bodies didn't close. That's the 236. So like body closing below that area, you can see clearly then we'd have a chance of pushing us down towards one of our next targets, and that lines up here with the 618, which happens to line up with the 50% Fibonacci retracement from the bigger Fibonacci area. Right now, this isn't like Fibonacci is going to lead the way for you for trading all this sort of stuff. There's a million ways of coming to that conclusion. Let me just pop on the moving averages, for example, and show you. This is the 24-hour time frame. If I pop down towards the 4-hour time frame, oh, actually, you know what? This is coming with a surprise for me. Not a surprise, because I could have just looked at it and seen it so easily. But we've taken out the 200 simple here on this one, and it's really lovely to see. And the 50 simple, like, striding towards the top side so nicely there. That's great to see. I should have actually popped on if I'd wanted to talk about those support and resistance areas. Something like the Ichimoku cloud would have been much better for it, showing it lining up here, you know, with those regions, etc. But but looking at this one, this undoing of the death cross, like we speculated about, could we get that to happen? And we're up here doing it now above that 200 simple moving average. So where can we look to? Well, if we do actually manage to take out those targets, then of course we're looking towards that 618. That's that zone we already spoke about. We're actually looking up higher than that though. We're looking up higher than that. Let's just reiterate yet again where the macro trend, if we do see things push on, could take us, and that's 992 there at that 1618. So maybe have a horizontal line in there so I don't have to keep kind of reformulating that. So and that makes sense, you know, if we see the markets really properly take off with things falling along with Ethereum, if Ethereum leads the way with regards to the altcoin markets over the next wee while. So I've done everything that I kind of really wanted to do here overall. By the way, nice to see you, Phil. There's a whole section in there where I'm looking through a whole host of altcoins, coming up with targets for them, where the next targets would be, and decent entry areas for like a whole section. I talk for like 10 minutes where I go through like I don't know, several different altcoins, starting at 1 inch and making my way down as far as like the C or D. I got that DOT, I did Doge, I did E-Gold, I got quite a few of them done, and then I've done even more. So in this episode there's whole tons of that. What are you saying in there, Peter, by the way? Like the video, ticket clipped, promised, quality. Spot, don't leverage. Still alt season. Bitcoin on Bybit just liquidated 15.6 million Bitcoin longs in 1.5 minutes. Ouch for the over leveraged people. Wow, that's that chart. I should have up that chart from time to time on the show, shouldn't I, man? I should do that. They get liquidated. If they get liquidated, Peter and I will both be laughing at this, right? Not laughing at them, but I mean, like, Peter is like looking at this and saying, oh, okay, so we've got this diminishing strength. Now he won't necessarily be using these tools, right? But one way or another, he's going to come up with the answers as well, right? Looking at these highs and thinking, I don't know about this. Is this diminishing volume? There's so many ways of doing it. I talked about this. Remember that episode I did a while ago where I talked about the fingerprint of a wedge, and I talked about divergences and everything else. You know, there's a billion different ways of coming to the same fucking solution. And you're looking up here and you're saying, right at the 618 golden pocket in there at that 59k area, we could easily drop back down to various different regions. You know, how easy it would be to go back down to that 57,777 area where everybody wants to see the prices go, and having been up at 59 and people getting liquidated doing it. Well, you know, who you can't help that. You can't help it. Can't help them. You can't help them. You can't help them. 15.6 million. Bye-bye. Right. And it's gone. Yeah. It's a complicated game, trading, right? And it's more than a game because it's a job and it's life, in fact. 3,200. Num, 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 num. So will we see an Ethereum a pullback at somewhere between sort of 3,200 and 3,333? You know, will we see that happen, and will we see it come down towards $3,000 again and give us a potential rebuy on that one? Will we see it? Look at that, another thing from the education on the channel when I explained cross and isolated margin, and then I deleted all this later, all of it, and now TradingView somehow, like I don't know what it is, if it's Brave browser or what, like storing my cookies wrong or whatever, it's brought it all back onto the chart for me. That was a great explanation, that talking about the pot and putting in the other pots and the risk reward basis here, all the different things that you talk about. Look at this chit chat. Cross, chosen your leverage, but then positions got into a loss, started with 20x, markets turned against you, so now your position requires more margin to be maintained. Oh, explaining a narrative there. If it says up to 100x, but the position goes all in your favor, you opened it with all of your account, then you have more margin in your account, so you can open up. Talking about how to get more than 100x. Oh, how comprehensive this was. Your initial margin, talking about initial margin, talking about 100x, how you can lose much more than that. Binance, choose your leverage, max initial margin, pay your margin up front, profit and loss, you can't lose with more than 100%, your position will be closed when you've lost, difference between your maintenance margin and the fees being involved, liquidated. Wow, fantastic. Your leverage in that position essentially stays the same. Your margin versus the borrowed margin, isolated margin, understanding all that. Oh my god, all for free, all here on YouTube, all fantastic. Well, that's great. Now we're done with the TA, everybody. Thanks for tuning in that section. We've got two sections to look at. One, we're going to have a bit of fun here. We're going to open up an NBA Top Shop card pack. There's my collection, by the way. That's my collection of NBA Top Shop jazz. So let's just jump on over to the pack thing. Looking forward to opening this up. So that'll be a good laugh. And maybe then as well do a trade. Has anybody got any suggestions for me? I've looked at a lot of coins. A lot here, right? So has anybody got any suggestions? I would like, ideally, I think 3 trades for $20 each. That would be cool. We've got $63 here, $64. So 3 trades for $21 each, that type of thing. Can anybody suggest any? Let me know. If you can't suggest any because maybe you've been watching the TA and you think, I don't know, at the end of all of that, what he was talking about, maybe there was something that interested you, and you could say, take a look at that coin and maybe then choose a position again more coherently for me, etc. We could talk about it. It's interactive. I'm going to do this today, though. I'm fed up of not spending that money. And as well, for people, if you want to donate, if you're really interested in a particular coin and you want to support the channel here and everything that I do on YouTube, then I'd really appreciate that. You could just ask for the deposit address for whatever coin you want to contribute, and then what I'll do is I'll also spend $20 on that coin, and I'll do the TA on it, right? So you'll get, so that's the deal. That's what you're buying essentially. But actually what you're doing is just kind of sending me a tip, right? Anyway, so collection and my packs. Excellent. So this is it. NBA Top Shop. I've got a pack here, and I just want to remind everybody there is another pack coming this evening. It's actually in an hour and 15 minutes. You'll be allowed to register for that in an hour and 15 minutes. If you want, Phil says, spend it. Yeah, I know, man. It's burning a hole in my pocket, right? So here we have it. It's a common pack, pre-registration pack. Not expecting anything super magical in here, but you never know. You never ever know. By the way, for anybody interested, this is basically like, baseball cards, but it's basketball. You're collecting cards that show moments instead of stats for a player. So it's like nice moments in the game, and it shows you a little video of the dunk or the block or the whatever it happens to be, right? Great, excellent. Bit of fun here. By the way, if you're just tuning in here for now, then hit the like button. I'd really appreciate that, and all that good stuff. So I'm pretty interested. Now, what could we get in this back. I think it's 3 or 4 cards. They're all going to be probably all going to be common cards and all that. So let's see. Yeah, man, I know, but I'm looking for a. I know, man, I know, Peter. I'm looking for a coin to invest in here in the spot wallet with not necessarily buying it right here right now, but putting in 3 orders so that over the period of the next wee while we might get a decent move. I hit the button, ladies and gents. I hit it. Right, so there we have it. It's going to be 3 cards. This is a bit of fun. It's going to be 3 cards. What one do we want to do first? I'll take the left one first, right? The left one first. It's a block. Chimezi Metu. What a good name. Boy, he really blocked this. Whoa, he did. Oh, okay, cool. What a winner. There you go. Nice one. That's what you want to see. That's like I'm a big fan of football, or soccer as you Americans call it. And it's all good when you see a keeper making a save, but when they make a save, get back up and immediately make another one. Bah, that's where it's at. Nice one, Chimezi. I like your name, Chimezi. Nice one, Chimezi. He's my new favorite guy called Chimezi. Good blocking skills. Here we go. Layup. This will be kind of tasty as well. You see what I mean? It's good moments in NBA. Whoa, okay, yeah, nice one, good one. I like your Coolio, your dreads. You look a bit like Coolio there, mate. A little bit like Exhibit as well. Right, anyway, nice one, good work. I was more a fan of that block one, to be honest with you, though. So, hey, something for everybody in here, right? That's cool. Nice one. What I'm hoping for now here is something from the Celtics, and I want it to be a dunk, probably. Let's just see what happens here. Nah, it's not right. Okay, what have we got? Dallas Mavericks. Luka Doncic, right? Show me the moment though, buddy. Nice round the back. I like the green outfit. Yeah, nice. Okay, good. Not my favorite moments, though, to be perfectly honest with you. I feel like maybe I'll keep the Chimizu one because I liked it a bit more, and maybe stick these 2 on the markets. What sort of monies would I get for them? Shall we just kind of end that music for now? Then that was a bit different. Notable. Wait a minute. What cereal have I got? Oh, I've got a low cereal. It's not the lowest cereal, I guess, though. What would it be? So if I hit place for sale, I can hit the pricing helper. Number 1. Right, so what was my serial number? 1,400, something like that. So we'll just go serial number highest and scroll. Oh, okay, so yeah, I got a decent serial number. Real decent. So if we're down here, let me just close this actually. What number was I? 1,473. Yeah, that's excellent actually. What sort? I might not sell this. Might not sell it. Might sell it. I'm not necessarily going to put it in here for sale on the live show. Anyway, let's just see then. Serial number lowest. Oh, I am on serial number lowest. What are we talking about here? So $20. $20, $27 there for that one. $40. How many are there higher? $17 there for that one. So that's me paid back the cost of the packet if I wanted to sell it, and I don't want to sell it. I think I'll probably keep it. So that's $20 there. If I want to, I can cash in on. I don't know what the other ones are doing. Ethereum still running. Oh, yep, 250. That's cool. It's just doing what we expected it to do, man. I'm expecting it to go at 250, 250, maybe 333, and then I'm asking the question if it will pull back or not. I mean, if it keeps going on beyond that, I'm not arguing with it or anything. I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to fight it, but it'd be like a case of using just at the minute, just acknowledging what it is for what it is. I mean, it's a real strong positive trend, and it could keep going up the way, yada yada yada. No harm, no foul. Ain't nobody going to profit shame me if I want to take some profit in here at these levels, by the way. I gave up on that a long time ago, but that's something that people out there in the world would maybe want to know about. Profit shaming, it happens. It's mostly to ourselves, though. However, if this does run up the way, though, then I'll be able to respond. Don't worry about me, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be fine. Right, so spot wallet balance. Yeah, man, it needs a pullback, doesn't it? So I mean, I said 250 to 300 to 3,300. So There we go. And I also said to anybody that wanted to take profit at 3,180 that it's not to be shamed about it, all that stuff. But you know, if we push on past that, I mean, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not here to do your trading for you, anybody out there either. I mean, Peter knows this. Obviously, I'm not talking to him. Obviously, I'm talking to everybody else. I'm not here to do your trading for you, obviously, but that's just what I'm looking at the minute, having happily got into this before, and now that's cool. That's cool. In fact. Sorry, ladies and gents. Just taking a second out to go over to an account that I wouldn't show you on screen. Wouldn't be so crass. But actually, it wouldn't be so irresponsible. Till I just take a look at... Would you load, please? Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Just taking a look at my own trading account here just to make sure that I have indeed set myself up the way that I wanted to do it in this moment. In just this moment. And I have. I mean, that's how you do things, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Nice and calmly. You never need to like do anything crazy fast or anything. Let me just hide that. I hate the recent trades thing being on the middle of the bloody page like that. Boo, boo, boo. Holy moly, said Scotty Sniper. You're right, Scotty, man. Holy moly is right. Okay. And just 1 second. Sell, and there we have it. 2,500% profit. Thank you very much. 2,500% profit. That's not bad. I'll take it. Never sniff at 2,500% profit, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I can say. Don't need to worry too much about things. You know, it's easy to get fascinated, drawn, caught up by the details. But here I am doing a live stream. I'm hardly going to like go off and micromanage anything, am I? And I already said to people not to be ashamed, profit shaming, and all the rest of it. And if things do sort of fly up the way, and I want to do something about it at that stage, then I'll be able to. And I'm not bearish on this in a single way. Can you just take a second here as well to acknowledge that this does not represent bearishness. This is actually full-on bullishness and everything else. It's just called being alive for more than a day. How long since you've been trading, bro? Years, man. But in terms of like, you know, doing it full time, it's been 4 or 5 years. But in terms of like, I worked in the bank 14 years ago. Then I've been running this YouTube channel, for example, since January 2020, putting out information like this all the time to people. I really do hope that this explodes up the way, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. I really do hope it just explodes up the way. But for me to try and pretend that movements from this area down here up to this area up here isn't equivalent of exploding up the way would be silly. And I do acknowledge that 14%, you know, people like to go wild. It's amazing how wild people go when we see that Ethereum's moved up, you know, since its last little inflection there, 14%. People going wild about it, and they would go wild about Bitcoin having moved up to 57 all the way from you know 46, like in that wild, extremely wild. But they'll not go so. But then they'll not take profits on a move where, like, let me just get up a coin like, let me see here. What's had a big movement today? Ethereum Classic's been a decent one. OMG up 13% today. You know, they would be like that's just taking us back into this middle of the range. And if I were to do an episode about it, saying to people, oh yes, you know, like, you know, like that's great, we've had this move and everything, nobody would want to watch it, right? It's weird. Then of course, you know, you have to acknowledge the depth and the distance you could be moving. But people will do things like they'll trade this with like 10x. They'll see it going up as high as this. They'll be sat here and like having got up to 18% profit if it was spot at 10x. So they're sat there at like 200% profit, and they don't want to take profit on their trade. Well, Cheers, Peter, man. No problem. It's foolish. I used leverage to do it, but it comes up with big numbers like that, you know. It comes up with big numbers like that when you're trading a cross account. You know, if you're being sensible in a cross account, you're using a small amount of your account, blah 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 blah, and all that, but it's cross all the same. You know, you're not thinking in your head about the leverage that you're using, but effective leverage that you're using, which is why you can disregard POE numbers. I mean, anybody who goes on about like. Because I could have shown that on the channel, right? And maybe got some more subscribers off the back of it or some crap. What's the point? What's the point? What's the real point in that? So yeah, wonderful. Whatever. Excellent. All right. Anyway, yeah. Cheers, K King. Cheers, man. But don't be too deceived by the idea of massive. I mean, it was So 2000. What did I say it was? I mean, I've still got some of it open, so I can check. It was, well, I don't know. It's 2,584.6% right now. Is what it is. That's pretty decent. But I mean, who cares, right? Who cares? Who really cares? I mean, I've also got a trade right above it that's in 12,000% profit. Anyhow, 12,000%. That's right. Right. Anything for how a new trade zone in on and how a new trader can zone in on a strategy. Great video. Yeah, buddy. Easy, right? There's plenty of ways a new trader can zone in on a strategy. Plenty of ways. There's maybe part of the problem with it is that there's so many ways a new trader can zone in a strategy, they don't know how to. Let's do it. Let's zone in on a strategy. So we got a question here in the chat from Arpit Rana. Thanks for the question, and he says, anything for how a new trader can zone in on a strategy. And let's just take up an example. Oh, actually, let's go off of this. Let's go take up a, let's go get like something S&P 500, right? Or NASDAQ or whatever. How have they moved today? I've got them on the list here. UK 100. Maybe that's what I should do. Because it's so crap. Maybe that's what I should do. Or I could do Forex. How about like USD, JPY, something like that. Okay, I'll just leave this open in the background as we discuss this. So we got a question here. How can a new trader zone in on a strategy? And there are many ways to do that. What you're going to have to do as a new trader is learn about trading. It's a good idea to learn all about different things like what is isolated margin or cross margin? What is maintenance margin? What is all these different words that you're going to know, right? Check, done that. Okay, that's not actually strategy, but it's going to help you get a good way into it by learning the taxonomy. Okay, so once you've learned the taxonomy trading and you know what you're talking about, what you're reading, it's going to help a lot because it'll accelerate understanding what you're then researching afterwards. Then what you're going to want to do is have discipline. Okay, discipline from the start is much easier to get than it is from after you've formed some bad habits already. Okay, so get some discipline, and some good ways of getting discipline are to do things like read books about discipline. So a good example for that is Mark Douglas's book, The Disciplined Trader. Good example, right on topic for that one. Okay, so what you've armed with so far is the taxonomy. So you know the words, okay? You're probably there already, and you're now disciplined. I'll give you a pass on that one. What do you do next? Well, you need to then choose to be committed. Okay, so discipline and commitment are two different things. Once you've got discipline, that's very good, but can you commit? So at this point, understanding that discipline could be that you are prepared to cut loose a trade when it's going against you at a certain level, no problem, I'm disciplined. However, then when it comes to doing your next trade, are you going to be able to commit? How disciplined is your commitment, or how committed are you to discipline, etc. as well? So there's that overlap. Have you worked on all of those things? I'll give you a pass on that. Then what you do is, and I'll just reference actually to make this, because I did say there's lots of different ways to do it. How about we just focus on Mark Douglas again and take the way that he talks about things from general. Now you can look at an interview by Mark Douglas on YouTube. There's a good one out there. Maybe I'll link to it in the description of this here once I'm finished chatting. there's a good episode of him on YouTube talking about this same thing. You need to commit to giving a chance for your system to work out. So you come up with a strategy and then you give it a certain amount of goals, okay? 20 is a good number. And you choose to, of course, use risk management. So you're going to commit at this point, and then you're going to commit to 20 trades. Then you're going to also commit to risk management, and you're going to commit to that discipline again. So with those three things in place, longevity, the discipline, and the risk management, you will be well on the way to zoning in on that process. Now, believe me, by the time you get to the end of that 20 trades, you're going to know so much about trading, it's going to be unreal compared to where you are now. Why? Because of this concept called deliberate practice. When people talk about becoming an expert and they say you need 10,000 hours at something, it's 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. I would bet you a significant sum that a lot of the people watching this right now may convince themselves they've done deliberate practice. However, it's more like kind of haphazard, and really it's not really the work you want to be doing. You want to be sure you're doing deliberate practice, and this is a route towards doing that. Now, with this process, 20 trades, that deliberate practice that you've done throughout the 20 trades, the education you've garnered as a result of doing that, and the acceleration you felt in your own trading, at no matter what level you are. And by the way, professional traders have been at it for years, frequently need to revisit these same concepts and go back and say, actually, you know what, I need to go through this process, take the next 20 trades, just sort it out, and then I will be feeling better. And the difference, the growth that they get as well, that we get, I should say, is still very real and valuable. Now then, how do you zone in on that point? Having got all of the framework around, but not having actually touched any of the strategy yet? Well, at this point, you're ready to start looking at all of the things that most people dive into straight away. You could be talking about a MACD cross strategy, a moving average cross strategy, simply just trading off the back of horizontal support and resistance. You could discover those horizontal support and resistance zones by looking at Fibonacci retracements. You could be looking at Donchian channels, Bollinger Bands, a combination of all of those. You could be talking about momentum. You might be a momentum trader trying to catch the waves of good moves, and perhaps you're a counter trend trader looking out for divergences, etc., to give you warnings. Maybe that's how you choose to take profit. In any strategy, there's going to be a degree of what your risk reward is going to be and how you take profit in there. A good strategy for anybody to have, even if they use no strategy, from the sort of headline 101, welcome to trading, you just started trading, YouTube videos about trading. If you just use nothing at all and you had one component, you'd probably have a pretty good success if you combined just the risk management tool of knowing where you're getting into a trade, which looks something like this, where you can choose what sort of odds you like, if you want to think about that in terms of your risk reward ratio, to show you exactly how your trade would be doing. Combining just that tool and a good attitude would probably take you 90% closer to your final destination as a successful trader than so many useless, wasted hours of flip-flopping around between haphazardous attempts at taking advantage of moves in the market. My friend, that is how you zone in on a strategy. Where you will be once you finish that compared to where you are now is a radically different place. I invite you wholeheartedly to come back and talk to me again then at that point. How do you think you have progressed and what you've learned and where we would be looking at going next with that discussion? But until such times as you've really done that and conquered it, then you won't be getting anywhere. Because, to be honest, my first question to you would be, if you did come back after having done that, would be, well, what did you learn about yourself, your trading? And then I would tell you to start a trading journal, because the next thing you do is you take out your book and you look at your trading journal and you say, oh, I put in a trade here at this point and I wrote reasons down for it in my journal like that, and you know the reason why. And that's the reason why on the recent Bitcoin price action, I got back in on a positive move at around about 54,000 to take advantage of the rise up the way, for example. And I know why I did it, etc. And of course, where my risk management was at the time and every other aspect of it. And then once you've done that, we can have another conversation and we'll be talking as peers. All the best. Right, good, cool. So do we have Cool. I hope that was interesting, by the way, for people, as well as a little side note, a little education clip for folk. So we've done the NBA Top Shop thing. Nobody's come in here with suggestions. Phil says, do Solana, please. Cool. That's all good, man. It's all good. I'll take a look at Solana again real quick. How far aren't we? We're on hour 41. I was supposed to have tuned out. I need to put on 3 trades. I'll just take a look at Solana again real quick. This is a really nice coin. It's been moving up the way. Oh, we did have a bit of a pullback just there. Nothing special so far in terms of that pullback. We're still above the 18-period exponential moving average. You can see the 50 and the 36 exponential wrapping up with each other just there. Could we be visiting one of these zones soon? I'm kind of looking for this and saying that I would rather get in at 45 than I would at 47, but ultimately either way I'm looking up towards 56, and there's decent chance of either of those moves happening. Now, of course, does this need to play out like any more than it already has? No, it doesn't at all. Really, you know, I would be patient in terms of looking at this thing with regards to just how we're kind of, you know, consolidating in this little zone right here. You know, it's nothing special. It happens an awful lot, but you can see it's predominantly sideways as opposed to sloping down at one of these angles that we've had in previous periods of time. Could we then burst outside of this and go either direction? Yes, we could. Would I expect to get the full thing? Not necessarily, but we could be looking up towards our target there, or of course we could smash on down past it, which is why I'd have a degree of risk management somewhere in this zone probably overall. I don't know about that moving the whole way down, but towards just that zone coming in where our wicks were previously and then continuing on the way again. But if that happened, then what you'd be looking at that point would be saying, are we in some sort of head and shoulders thing with a neckline in there? Not many reasons at the minute is what I'm getting at for the prices to turn around here, but if they did, you'd start to form them sort of posthumously. But really you'd be looking for that major support area to be kind of more significant for us, and that would be what I'm looking at with regards to this one. Now, do we have anything that's really worrying for us? Well, of course, there is this bearish divergence. That gives us the hint that maybe we do see a pullback. In the past, when we've had bearish divergence coming in here, we have had pullbacks. Those pullbacks have been significant. I would be looking towards either that line, and of course as well we could see a pullback down to the 200 simple period moving average, although of course it's not an everyday occurrence, but when it does occur, by jingles does it occur, and you're looking at massive, you know, profit moves here. Like additional, that wick there was 19%, but you can see as well that this will have been an immediate recovery, a V-shaped recovery, and an offered up, just I'll not bother looking at that in detail, but but would have offered up what then transpired as well in terms of this 4-hour candles here, how this happened, because this is a tweezer bottom that you're getting just here, but this happened probably across the period of the 4 hours. Where was that? Yeah, between midnight. So we had a big crash down for the daily close and then recovered at that period of time between 2 4-hour candles, giving me the opportunity to show you what I was talking about on that 1 hour one just there. So that's what you'd be looking for, hopefully, if it did happen. And then of course it gives you the opportunity to get back in with momentum if that's how you want to do things. At the meantime, we're in the middle of consolidating, and the truth is that the range on this thing is so significant that there's a risk to talk about things. When you talk about consolidating with the potential to sort of move somewhere between 5 and 8% before you've even really clearly defined if you've actually stopped consolidating after, and you're still moving that range, it's risky biscuits in that mode at that time. So, you know, what can I say? It's risky, but there's the potential for us to get start to get a trend up the way here, you know, but also the potential for this to kind of just... What am I saying there? What am I saying? I'm saying that I'm not super positive on it right now, but the macro is clearly up, and I'm obviously clearly positive on this thing in the long term. That's what I'm saying on it. And those are my regions. Price points, by the way, for that red line was in at 38. You could easily be taking a move from 45. It'd be much better value than 47, but I wouldn't be wanting to hold on to that too much down past 44. You'll notice, actually, when I was talking about this earlier on, I moved it up. You'll just watch the other Solana clip because I've done it all already. Anyway, Phil already, I've talked about it. You'll just get double it. You'll just get more of the same information there, and better overall as a result if you watch that one. But what we need to do is decide 3 trades, right? So I'm willing to put on a trade. I mean, we could do a sort of risk it for a biscuit move there. I want to put on three orders. Not that they're going to happen right now, and they're not me. See, the thing about this is, right, that I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not pushing my own book. This is, in fact, the channel tip account, right? It's a tip account for the channel that people who value what I do here, if they want to ad hoc contribute. You've got people like Phil out there, by the way, who's a really great guy who contributes through Patreon, and you all can do that too. I'd appreciate it. But if you're looking to get sort of interactive and enjoy this sort of thing, then we can do this, right? But I really need the audience to provide me with the trades, because I'm not a financial advisor. None of this financial advice. I can do all the TA, but I'm not going to advise anybody on what trades to take. I just don't do that. Instead, I teach a man to fish, and we'll live with the consequences here together. You know, we'll live with it together. We're all in the same boat. It's a freaking fishing boat, and I want it to be a trawler, but at the minute it's just a little rowing boat with a couple of us and a couple of little sticks with string hanging off the end of it, and a Cheeto tied on to the end, hoping that we kind of catch a fish. But maybe one day we'll have a trawler out there, you know, doing thousands at once. Need to know what people think, you know. Any suggestions? Cheers. Later, Peter. Yeah, any suggestions from anybody about what you want to put this in on or not? Or do I end up having to actually decide myself? I want to avoid doing that. Wow, look at BNB having come up towards our target. Wouldn't it have been so nice had somebody suggested the other day in the show, for example, to get some BNB? In fact, they did, which is kind of annoying, and we talked about it at the time. I just forgot to do it all. They didn't say get BNB. It was they said something about BNB, and I says we should get some of that. Remind me to do it, sort of type of chat. But I totally forgot. Anyhow, XRP USDT. Yeah, man, Peter. Okay, cool. Like, let's take a look at XRP. So we talked about this earlier on. We've got a comment here for Drew's Tech, and he's put in a bit of effort here. I just want to see this comment, because this is really good. This is in response to the question earlier on about zoning in on a tactic, I think. Start simple. I started with MACD crossover strategy or moving average crossover. Trial on a paper account. Risk management is key. Study your mistakes. Study your wins. Keep notes. Nice. That is the bullet point of what I was saying earlier on. I said a couple of extra things, but that's what we're talking about, really. So XRP, you know, oh, look at that. No, this was it. This was the trade that I wanted to take. By the way, folks, this is the trade that I wanted to take here earlier on Ripple, and it was down at 145. It's always up at 157 at the minute. If I was trading this, you know, using stops, etc., I'd be able to put in a stop where I was getting 4% profit, etc., guaranteed, risk-free trade. Lovely. But have we got enough hope here to say that we could get another stab down at this area? I would say that there's some reasons for concern. There are some reasons for concern here. Like, so the divergence hasn't played out much. This wick was maybe enough to say it's played out, but not necessarily. Could we come back down and retest it? We got a cross here in the DMI. It's not pointing up the ADX, obviously. It couldn't be for it to be crossing, but we could see a dip here on this one for a rebuy entry for people, or it could obviously crack down past that. What do we think? Do we want to put in a trade on this one? Peter suggested that one. This was the move that I suggested putting. Actually, you know what? Let's cut to the chase. I'll just put one in myself here and just get the ball rolling so that everybody can see it happening. Because if I don't do it, then I don't do it, and I'll not do it with any. I was thinking that if we get more advanced in on the show here together as a trading community, if you like, we could start to take a look at things like margin trading, etc., or even going into the leveraged account, because that would be sweet, wouldn't it, to do some of that. But you know, I'm not planning on like managing this thing. I'm not going to be using stops or anything. I'm just buying it and setting it and setting and forgetting. So despite the fact that my trade here clearly has a risk management component, clearly talking about risk management, etc., I will not be managing my risk in this account. This is just for funsies. We'll see how long it goes. Maybe one day, if it just disappears one day, right, then you know that I've just decided to pack it in. Right, so what are we talking here? I wanted to get $20. $21 is actually what I wanted to get, so 14.18. We're putting the order in there at 148. Right, done. Cool. So what else did we have here in terms of question. Meme, is that on Binance name, buddy? Lol, yeah, it was a bit late on the response. Good to see you guys. Good to see you, Drew's Tech, man. It's always good to see you. You're a really great guy. The oceans are in bad shape, mate. The scientists say that by 2050 there will be more plastic than fish in the ocean by weight. Maybe you can be farmers or something. Has anybody seen that? Documentary Seaspiracy? I watched that documentary yesterday with my mum, and it's disgusting. New SafeMoon very early. Well, then it's not on Binance, right? Because SafeMoon is crap, and obviously it's not on Binance, and so is this one. No offense to all the SafeMoon lovers out there, but you know, whatever. I don't think the guys themselves would be offended with me saying it. It's a coin, a token of a Ponzi idea. You know, that's the idea. Very good, right? So, and I think that they're pretty transparent about that. Obviously, they don't use the word Ponzi, but there you go. Phil is suggesting Link USDT. So we're looking for a trade on Link. Excellent stuff. Thanks, Phil, coming in here with that. So Link USDT. Now, I did the technical analysis on this 2 minutes ago, but my brain has completely forgotten it because you can imagine the amount of information that goes through my head doing this show, you know, wipes it out completely. That chart is not the chart that I was using before. Yeah, it's this. That's this chart. Well, we've got those movement here. A little bit of that. A little bit of that. A little bit of this. The daddy. Boo. Where was the chart I was doing the TA on it before, though? I'm going to come back to this in a second. Just want to see. Yeah, I want to get in on this one at 37, I'm thinking, but I just want to have a look and see. Now, by the way, when I put trades in on this account, they're not going to be the very, very best or anything like that necessarily, because I'm not about to combine the whole stage fright aspect of doing technical analysis live on YouTube with unrealistic expectations on myself, etc. However, you know, as well, damn it, we've obviously done this. What did I say? Did I say I would be happy to get in at? Yeah, I wouldn't carry my move down here towards 33, 31. We're up here in the 40s. That's not sensible. We could be looking down the way over the if we wanted to get a better entry. Got that high there, followed by that one, which was ever so slightly higher, but not a great deal higher, and this one. So like that would have been hidden bearish divergence, but didn't quite play out. We've got this volatility gizmo down below telling us we could come back down and revisit this area. A little bit curious as to you know, in terms of like how this thing works out all the time. You know, have we really done it with these wicks down the way? See, you know, you haven't done the immediate retest of a zone after having pushed past it, then this thing really comes into its zone where you're looking at it and saying, "Whoa, look, there's really big danger. We never really retested that zone." But I'm actually going to say that that's really where I want to see us retesting. I'm going to, yeah, about 37. I'll go with 37, not quite 35, but I don't want to have to. I don't want to have to look at the account ever, really, apart from when I'm doing live streams or thinking about things. And I really want to draw the point out that you could easily get a 10% discount on things, even though I don't really expect it to. I don't expect it to happen. Fuck. Maybe I should put it in on something I actually expect to happen. Well, that's why we're going 37. I'm not going. Yeah, screw it. Going for 37 on Link USDT. I don't care if they're always good moves. Then 37. By the way, because of course numbers, right? I mean, if they're always good enough moves, then I'm happy overall here. This is just a spot fund. We're going with $21 of this thing as well, so not even a full link. How embarrassing! Just half a link. Oops, times have changed. So yeah, Matic, excellent, K King, well done, man, well done. So Matic, in fact, I didn't do the TA, did I, on Matic? Did I really quite? Okay, cool. What's that? Is that going to be a flag or Head and Shoulders or something? Let's just take a look at this. I did look at it for like a split second, I think. My memory. Who needs memory, eh? Somebody needs a memory. Somebody was talking about memory a minute ago. Can't remember who it was. Cool. Wait, for a 1 hour time frame, we're just getting a tick around, are we? Is it actually? No, it hasn't. This year, negative, downward slope projected at the net neutral line. hoping for hidden bullish divergence on a really tentative small term upward trend here at this point. Obviously, we could see a pullback on this one. What would that be like? Whoa, could it be brutal and down to 53? Could be. Could be. I've clearly done something on this one. That's the target. The target's all the way up there at 150. And I would like to see it going all the way down to 50 cents to get 30 cents off for a 180 move. Well, yeah, I would like that. Yeah, I would like that. Are we going to be patient with this one? Be really patient. Big movement down the way. Big movement down the way, but we've kind of finished that off. I'm gonna get supported at the neutral line, the stochastics on this, and is that going to be hidden bullish divergence at that point just there, and this move fail? See, I want to not take any risk because I'm not managing risk. Essentially, this is what it boils down to. I mean, if I was managing risk at the minute, I could look at this potential sort of move here and look at look at this sort of risk to reward, you know, type trading, okay? But I'm not going to manage my risk, so I don't want to look at it like that. A little interesting thing, a little curious thing, by the way. You know, looking at your charts and asking questions about where you'd be taking profit at, always bear in mind that if you're looking at a logarithmic chart and you're saying, I want to take profit up here, or even not on logarithmic, actually, it's, you know, this linear chart here, you've got a couple of different moves that you could be looking at and thinking, well, is this move or is this move good? Which one's good, etc. Pop it on logarithmic and bear this in mind. Look at how this doesn't move up very much while we move this up the way, you see? So just like, I mean, this is just a visual representation of how much your risk changes by, you know, not buying on dips, essentially. What happened there? Brendan Murphy just subscribed. Thank you, Brendan. Good to have you, buddy. Welcome to the team. Welcome to Family Outcrop. So what our main concerns are at the minute is, are we going to see this dip here, which saw us rise up a little bit, function enough in terms of hidden bullish divergence with this low here to account for us to be able to get into a trade with it not being that I tune in next week to see that it sucked and I wish I'd got in lower down, or not, because I'm not going to be managing my risk effectively. I'm going to manage it really badly. So instead, I'm looking down towards this area. But also, you see, the thing is, I'm also not going to be looking at this necessarily when it's on here. I'm not really proactively trading this. I'm just setting and forgetting. So I'm going to set it slightly above our previous high over here in terms of our entry. And I'm going to also manage risk at around about where the 200 simple is now. Bearing in mind that this could happen over the period of any of the next few days or not. Now, there's a strong likelihood that it doesn't happen. There's a strong likelihood, you know, a fairly good chance that we see this positive cross happening in the DMI, find support with the ADX here at 30 and us move on up the way. There's a good chance. So if you're trading this live yourself right now, you might find a very, very different entry to this than myself in terms of what I'm looking at. But there's also a chance that this happens. And on the basis that I'm not managing my risk and I am going to be logging back into this account in the future and want it to be decent, and I don't mind seeing dollars there, etc., I'm going to put it in on that. So that's my justification for this trade. My TA for it is on the basis that, well, we could easily see us finding support here at these neutral lines, etc., and this could easily be hidden bullish divergence. This could easily be a bull flag, and we could easily be looking up to these zones, and that's exactly how I would normally trade this thing. But I'm not doing that in this instance. Instead, I'm going to have to try and justify in other ways. And really, yeah, well, yeah, so we've not had a big significant pullback. We could get this to cross over. We've gone sideways enough to, that's a shit narrative, that one, with this having crossed down there in that time frame. The 24-hour time frame was giving us something a bit better, was it? Yeah, so we've got bearish divergence on the RSI here. We pulled back a wee bit. So we haven't pulled back enough, right? And this is going to tie in together with what I was saying before. We haven't pulled back enough, you know, but I'm not going to be here managing this trade if it drops down to 77. Okay, I'm not going to be managing it at 77. I'm not going to be managing this trade at 67. I'm just not. But I could buy in somewhere around about 59 or down as low as 55 and not worry about it at all, and maybe come back and be quids in. Overall, there's a strong risk of that happening if the prices drop down past 77, I'm not going to be here to witness it drop down there because I'm tuning out in 2 minutes. But I'm going to say that if that were to happen, this is what I'm buying would be my reward for that. If that were to happen, now the risk is that it doesn't happen, and if that doesn't happen, I don't lose out because I've still got the money in the account. So that's what we're going with. What did we kind of decide? We said something like 58. So I kind of got lost a bit of the old patience when it came to figuring that out. But we'll just stick it in 58, and we're going to get 21 bucks, and that's that. Well, actually, I could probably just extend up to 100% of the dollars. There we go. Cool. Nice. So we put on some trades. Oh, I should check in with the chat just to see if you were giving me the entries and all that. New SafeMoon lol sounds like another bot. Are you human? Yeah, exactly. I've been doing that. Yes, I'm unfortunately 100% human. Name last name. You know, name last name is everybody's favorite sort of fake email address name, so it's understandable Drew would ask you that as well, right? I know that I've got several emails out there that have got like that sort of thing and user accounts places, and then or username, that's a good username, right? And then yeah, I've been doing that recently. I've been asking people if they're bots or not because I've had plenty of bots come in here recently and be botty. Drew's wow, the alert box kind of half worked there. Drew's Tech, thanks so much for the tenor. Really appreciate it. The alert box kind of half worked there. Didn't really. I can read it out again. We did hear the message, though. The woman spoke. I'm so pleased to hear her speak for the first time. She's just given birth to a new voice. Right, I need to go 2 hours and 2 minutes. That's great. I'm patient on it still since I bought in at 33 cents on Matic. Aye, good one, man. That's exactly the way to be. Fairly safe in there at 33 cents. And of course, you know, it doesn't look like you'd ever be you're running a risk of like losing money on that trade. You know, if we did come down to these areas and bust down past it, well, you'd be well aware of that happening along the way. You know, that's handy enough for you. You know, to protect yourself. So that's cool. Excellent. Nice one. Everybody had a good stream. I stayed on for half an hour longer than I intended on doing so, but that was all right. It was good. I enjoyed the stream. Thanks so much. Got the trades in there. Nice one. Opened up my NBA Top Shot pack. Nice one. Remind everybody that there's a new pack dropping in 35 minutes. Nice one. And that I did everything I wanted to do. So that's perfect. Excellent. Mitchell Lovell. I'm going to just skip the whole end screen chat. Of course, well, you know, I'll stick it on for a second. I do have a Patreon. I do actually appreciate people doing that. And as well, yeah, still looking for that number 10 slot if anybody wants to get on that leaderboard. And then, of course, yeah, thanks very much to everybody. I'm not going to do a full reverse roll call. Just suffice it to say, thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Dude Man. Thanks, name, last name. Wonder what your real name is. Phil, thanks. Good to see you as well, Dude Man, Peter, and all of the rest of you that tuned in, such as Drew's